For February, we have a great color combo to work from that we picked from Pinterest. I have listed my board for color combos on Pinterest for you to check out in the description. Hi everyone, Patty here, and let's get started on making some planner art pages for this month. Each page I worked on trying to get the lighter lavender color, but didn't really have that color, or could I recreate it? But that was the fun of this month, trying to figure out what supplies I have and what I could make work for my monthly spread. We have already prepared all of our weekly pages with the stamps that we created last November, and we have all of our pages stamped ready for the month. It's just that February this year only has 4 complete weeks, starting on a Sunday and ending on a Saturday. So we only need 4 weeklies, and we have 5. My first plan of action is to cover one of the weeklies with some texture paste with a stencil. I pick the one that may have the most splotches and boo-boos on it. I've decided which one to cover up with the texture paste. Pick whichever stencil you have that you love, or maybe one that you haven't used in a long time. This is the time and place to get to know your supplies and use something that you haven't used in a long time, or maybe have never used. Let the texture paste dry before you start adding color. The 2 teal colors I'm using are, for the darker color is Art Alchemy Metallic Stormy Ocean, and the lighter teal color is Lemire by Jacquard Pearlescent Turquoise. Both of these paint colors are very thick, and I will just put a dab of it onto my plastic plate and add water to thin it down so I can use it more as a wash or watercolor than a paint. I add the color in lines across the page. This page I was a little more free-spirited with, my color in not quite in a line, but just tried to get the same color in several different areas on the page. I like to work in thirds, so each color will be in different places on the page, and it will make your eye move around on the page. I activate my watercolors with a little water and add the light lavender color. This didn't achieve the color like I was hoping for, so I pulled out another set of watercolors, trying to find the light lavender color. Maybe the combination of the 2 colors will get me that color. I had taped this down using tape or first aid tape. I was hoping I could reuse it on my pages when I wanted to make a collage or add pockets to the page, but this tape ripped my watercolor paper. I'm not looking for perfection, so I just glued this ripped area back down with my glue and keep going. I don't think I'll be able to reuse this tape. It does have some pretty color on it though. Ready to start on my next page. I'm going to tape this page down with blue painter's tape. I know if you use a heat gun to heat your tape up when removing it, that it will help from ripping your watercolor paper, but I don't always think of that when I'm ripping my tape off my paper. I go around the top and bottom of the watercolor paper and then down the sides. This will be my cover page, and I want to find the 8-inch mark to add another piece of tape. That will give me a 6-inch cover, and the color will go around a couple more inches onto the back page for a tuck spot. The extra will end up being pockets for this month. I give my watercolor paper a spritz of water and start layering down the same colors I was trying to create for my Pinterest color combo inspiration. This color seems to be closer to the light lavender I was trying for, but the inspiration piece seems to be a little pinker, but I guess that is not going to happen for me. When all said and done, I ended up liking this page the best because of this color. That's why we experiment and try out different ideas. I did go more in a line across my page, adding the light lavender color. I want to leave some white space across my design, as I want to make marks in the white spaces. This may be my hardest part of creating a design and leaving white space. It adds so much to the design, but when I get a paintbrush in my hand, I want to cover the whole page. But we're going to be determined to leave some white spaces randomly over the pages. Next, I add my lighter teal paint that I have watered down across my page. I don't wash my brush out. I started with a lighter color and go to a darker color by just wiping my brush off with a paper towel as I go. Still trying to go across the page in somewhat of a line, not a straight line, but a free form line across the page. On to the next color. That is a darker teal. Again, this is an acrylic paint that is very heavy bodied, and I had to water it down quite a bit to get it to flow across my page like I wanted. I wanted still a little darker line going along to define some of my colors and add it across the page, still making sure I leave some white space on the page. Let this page dry, and we go back to the page where we added the texture paste with the stencil. We can still see the outline of the weekly stamped under the stencil. The texture paste didn't cover up the weekly like I had planned. Time to add a little gold, and that gray color that is on our color combo inspiration. The gold highlights the stencil nicely. I just used a makeup brush with my brilliant gold gouache paint over the top of the stencil to get a highlight of gold. Let this dry and go on to another page. I spritzed my page with water. I chose not to tape this page down, but if you don't tape it down, the paper will bow and move, so you have to decide which look you want. I wanted the paint to go all the way to the edge of these pages, so I chose not to tape them down. I pulled out my watercolors and tried the darker teal to see what this would do and look like. Not all of the pages have to be exactly the same color or even the same shades. I'm playing with my products and seeing what I like best with what I have. This is a little too blue for the color inspiration piece. Keep adding your colors and get some color to your page. A little more of the pearlescent turquoise. I love this color, and every time I put it onto the page, I think, oh yeah, this is really a gorgeous color. I concentrated on adding this color to the corners of the page. We are adding color to all 3 pages of our planner pages. This page is my monthly stamped page. I've already added the days of the week across the top of the monthly and the month nomenclature with the year. Let's add a little more color to this page. I go about it in the same method, leaving white space randomly on the page and trying to go in somewhat of a line across the page, defining the color changes with a little darker line across the page. I pulled out another piece of watercolor paper and taped it down to my table. I have a lot of leftover pieces of laminate flooring that I use on my desk to paint and create onto. If it gets paint onto it, I don't care, and I can tape directly onto it. This will end up being a watercolor swatch of my colors that I'm using on this piece, and in the next video we will use these as journaling cards or pockets. We will have to see as we go along during the month. When I add a color to the color swatch, I add it to the planner page. I do this with each color and add the variations of colors I've tried. The pencil I will be using is a black wing matte pencil. These make a nice dark pencil mark. Keep adding color to your pages, and don't forget to leave some white space as we will be adding our marks to those areas with our pencil. Wherever we have a random white space, we will be adding straight lines. We add our straight lines to these areas. Get out our black and gold watered down acrylic paint that we have put into our fine line bottles to add some gold dots and lines, plus a few black dots randomly over our page. Have fun with this step and add some marks to your page. Each page I varied my lines or where I put them. I keep going back to this page where I tried to cover up one of the weekly stamps, as we don't need 5 weeklies this month. Added some of my gray color that is on the inspiration piece with a stencil to all of my pages. A few more random areas on the weekly I was trying to cover, but you can still see it. I think this page would be a pocket on it or something to cover it up a little bit more. Mark making is got to be the greatest part of finishing these pages off and setting them apart from last month. Keep your pencil sharp to make nice, crisp lines in your white space areas. After you have made all of your pencil marks and your fine line tip bottle marks with gold and black and everything is dry, we are ready to assemble our pages for February. Start with the monthly page and score a line at the 6-inch mark of your page. Fold this in half. Score all of your pages at the 6-inch mark of your page. Take your cover page that you taped at the 8-inch mark of your page and cut off the end piece. This is going to be 2 pockets. I don't measure, I just leave a little space at the bottom of the piece I'm cutting and at the top, so it forms a nice pocket. Insert the monthly inside the cover piece and glue the back flap of the cover piece to your back side of the monthly page. This forms a tuck spot onto the back of your journal page. You can decide if you want to glue your pockets onto your pages now or later. I will do this in the next video when we create our journaling cards to go into them. I clamped my corners down on the tuck spots as this is a watercolor paper and it is very thick, so it needs to be held down till the glue can dry on to the tuck spot. On my cover page, I want to use my fine line tipped bottle of black acrylic paint to freehand the word February, or F-E-B, to my cover page. I'm a bit nervous about attempting to freehand this, but if it doesn't turn out, I can call it a simic writing. I tried a trial run across the page with the fine line bottle with the lid on, just to see where to start and where to end. Kinda get the feel of how I wanted this to fit across the page. And then just go for it. Go big and bold. Go over the letters a couple times, leaving a space between the letters. We will be adding marks between those lines also. That was fun, and I enjoyed just letting go and adding the letters in cursive. You could do calligraphy or more of an urban graffiti type across the front. Oh yeah, I think that will be for March. Have a great day and see you back next time, and we will be adding our pockets and creative journal cards. Bye now.